to the EQ video tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. It's great to have you back. We have an excellent show today, and we want to jump in right now. Let's review the goals of EQ video tip. Welcome back. We've got a great episode today. We're going to talk about, is your coworker a stoperator? And when we say that, are they putting the halt to what you're doing? And more importantly, how do you deal with it and how do you overcome that? This article comes to us from Anuri Abdul. And Anuri writes for Hive.com and has a great blog on this. Picture this. Have you ever had a time where you've got this great idea and the team, everybody's moving forward, all of a sudden someone just says, stop, like that's not a good idea, or they suck the energy right out of the room? That in a sense is a stoperator. What we're going to do first is we're going to identify who are stoperators, and then from there we're going to talk about how to overcome them. Let's jump in right now. Okay. How do we first identify who's a stoperator? Well, there's some characteristics that are generally known to be those worthy of a stoperator label. For example, stoperators tend to be short-sighted and very pessimistic. You bring up an idea and it's the worst thing in the world. They're ready to shoot it down. They don't persevere past the point of a challenge. So, for example, they hear about the challenge, but they're not able to get past that point of how do we solve that challenge. They also have issues letting go of control. This could be that they're the leader of the group or they're a team member of the group, but they want to control everything that's going on. Those typically are part of what we call stoperators as well. The last piece too is they seem to be driven by self-interest, and sometimes that self-interest may not just be within their control, but just fear of the unknown. Identifying a stoperator is really important if you're working on a project and you seem to get stuck or someone is dragging you down. Now that we've identified the characteristics of a stoperator, let's figure out how to work with them to make them part of the team. Now that we know what a stoperator looks like or sounds like, we need to know how to deal with them. The first thing that we need to do is be empathetic. And that's one of the goals just in general of increasing your EQ. But if we're going to deal with people who are stoperators, we have to be empathetic. And we also have to realize that there will always be stoperators in life. No matter how many we turn our way, there's always going to be another one. Understanding that is key to helping you overcome stoperators in the long run and as well as in the short run. So understand that you have them. They're going to be part of our lives. And how we deal with them is going to be the key to making these projects successful. Use empathy as the first measure to deal with a stoperator. Our next tip, reassure them. So after we have empathy, we need to reassure them that we've got a good game plan and that this game plan is not some magical thing that is out there, but in fact, it's something that's really going to help out in the long run. Because humans are hardwired and they are afraid typically of the unknown. By providing a game plan, reassuring them of how this is going to work, and making them part of the process, and even testing out the hypotheses that we're working on, that will ultimately lead to reassurance and helping that stoperator become part of the solution. Our next tip. Help them see that big picture out there. And that's really a goal, because stoperators tend to be focused in on the moment, what's happening right now, what affects them. But they're short-sighted in that regard. And it's not a fault of theirs, rather it's just a shortcoming of theirs and something that you can help them oversee. If you help them see that bigger picture so that they understand that putting in an extra 10% of work in this department may increase productivity for another department by, let's say, 100%, that helps them understand the bigger picture of what's happening in the environment. So take a moment to help that stoperator understand the bigger picture and work through it to make your team more successful and remove that blocker of the stoperator. Our last tip, find out what motivates the stoperator. Sounds easy, but it's a little more challenging. But everybody has a motivation, something that's going to drive them. And we need to understand the root cause of their stoperation, as we might say, but more importantly, what's motivating them in the long run. Getting to know the stoperator and how they react and their instincts will ultimately understand their frustrations, their fears, their challenges, and make them a better teammate, because you can help them and understand what they want to see and what they want in terms of the success and the outcome of projects. Helping them understand puts them in a position also to win, so that you can place them on the right portion of your team and make the right decisions to ensure that stoperator doesn't become the stoperator that terminates the project. Rather, you understand what drives them, and in the long run, you've worked with them and collaborated with them to make that project and that team even more successful. So, at the end of the day, find out what drives and motivates your stoperator. Thanks again for watching this week. Here's a quick summary of what a stoperator is, and more importantly, how to overcome them. Take time to figure out who the stoperators are in your life and how you can work better with them to make your projects and your teams more successful. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ video tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.